The BBC.
Lewis Hamilton says being the most successful driver in Formula One history means nothing unless he can continue to lead the fight against racism in the sport. He initiated the Black Lives Matter protests at races. He's also established a commission to improve the representation of black people in motorsport. His Mercedes team boss is Toto Wolff.
If you're in a good place, you find purpose in your life, you will also perform. And I think his activities started with music and fashion, and now to much more serious topics. There is not just a purpose in achieving greatness in the racing, but there's also purpose in helping really to change the world in the way he can.
Plenty more in a special Lewis Hamilton, the Greatest podcast. You can download it via BBC Sounds. The chair of Kick It Out, Sanjay Bandari, says he would support Paul Elliott if he were to put himself forward for the position of FA chairman. It follows the resignation of Greg Clark for using unacceptable language about black players. Elliott is currently the chair of the FA's Inclusion Advisory Board. Here's Bandari with Rob Bonnet.
He's definitely got the ability to do the job depending on the way in which the role is crafted. There are many options for how you craft the requirements for that role. Of course, he would be a candidate.
And he'd have your full support?
He would have my support, but I'm sure there are plenty of other candidates that would similarly be equally passionate.
Manchester United's Lauren James has been called up to the England women's squad for the first time ahead of the Lionesses training camp at the end of November. Head coach Phil Neville has named a 29-player extended squad. It also includes a return for Manchester City's Laura Coombs. England's proposed tour of Pakistan in early 2021 will now not take place. Talks over a short limited overs tour were announced by the ECB back in October, but it's understood the main reason for the tour not happening is the strength of the team England could field. Meanwhile, the England women's captain Heather Knight made an unbeaten 58 from 32 balls to help Sydney Thunder to an 8-wicket win over the Melbourne Renegades in the Women's Big Bash League.
Today was a really important game, trying to get back on the board. We've had a bit of a bad run. So yeah, to do it in that style shows real character from the girls. Still think there's a lot of things we can improve on, and that's really good signs, obviously, going into a really important week and trying to make that top 4 spots.
England women have named the Gloucester Hartpury prop Eleanor Perry and Loughborough Lightning's Abby Brown in their training squad ahead of Saturday's match against France. Natasha Hunt also returns. And Kell Brook's 16-year professional boxing career could be at its end after his third defeat on Saturday. He lost to Terence Crawford in Las Vegas. He said it might be the end of the road. Brook famously beat Sean Porter back in 2014 to take the world title. But our correspondent Mike Costello says it's time to stop.
It's time, I say, for him to walk away with his legacy intact. He will be remembered, if for nothing else, one of the all-time great wins by a British boxer, either in the United States or anywhere away from home. He was a huge underdog against Sean Porter, and not only did he pull it off, he pulled it off on points.
There's plenty more on that in the Costello and Bunce podcast. That's the latest from BBC Sport.
BBC Sport.